Well, it's now the Christmas break, so hopefully you're enjoying your time off if you've got time off this week with family and friends. But in the meantime, I figured let's do another Power Rankings video. I know we only had a couple of games last week for most teams in the Ontario Hockey League, but it has resulted in some movement in the Power Rankings. So let's dive right into it. We have a new team sitting at number 20 in the Power Ranking. It's the Owen Sound Attack. They dropped 2 spots this week, and I feel kind of bad having Owen Sound at number 20 after joining JC Coots on his podcast, the Bear Tracker podcast. I did an interview with him this week, so you can catch that over on his YouTube channel under the Bear Tracker podcast name. And for the Owen Sound Attack, they only played one game, but they were shut out 4-0 by the Barrie Colts despite putting 45 shots on net. That's now back-to-back games where Owen Sound has been shut out. Before that, they were shut out by the Flint Firebirds. So I know for the Attack, they look like they're going to be sellers at the January 10th OHL trade deadline. So we'll keep an eye on names like Connor Smith and McHugh. But I do feel this team is going to head in the right direction sooner rather than later. It's just a bit of a bump in the road for this season. Now, coming up this week, just one game, and they'll be home to the Brantford Bulldogs on Saturday. At number 19, no change. It's the Peterborough Petes. The Petes 1-1 last week. They needed a shootout, though, in their lone win. That was against the Ottawa 67s. Now, Peterborough, they're now 5-4-1 over their last 10 games, so much improved than what we saw at the start of the regular season for the Maroon and White. Coming up this week, just one game, and again, it's at home against the Ottawa 67s on Sunday. Number 18, it's the Guelph Storm. They are up 2 spots this week. For the Storm, they were 1-1 last week. They had an impressive 6-4 win at home against the Sioux on Friday. Obviously, the Storm, they're looking to the future, but it was good to see Noah Jankin, who they acquired from the London Knights, put up 2 goals in the win against the Sioux Greyhounds. So the future, I think, is bright for the Guelph Storm. Obviously, this year, kind of riding it out, see if they can make the playoffs. But, we'll keep a close watch on Guelph as Jet Luchenko right now, the name to watch when it comes to the OHL trade deadline. For the Storm this week, just one game. Saturday, they will be on the road visiting the Erie Otters. At number 17, the North Bay Battalion, they fell one position this week. Now the Battalion, they went 0-2 last week, losses to the Sioux and Sudbury. All eyes for North Bay will be on Anthony Romani and Owen Van Steensel once the trade freeze is lifted. There have been a lot of rumors swirling around the North Bay Battalion, but I do like how the team is setting themselves up for the future. They had the signing of Ryder Cali, Shamar Moses, a point per game since coming over from Barrie. So the future, I think, is bright. And then whatever they can add in deals for Van Steensel and Romani will help this team moving forward. Now, this week ahead, they only have 2 games, but it's a home-and-home against Barrie. It starts Saturday at the Saddlein Arena, and then they're home to the Colts on Sunday. At number 16, I have the Brampton Steelheads. They're down 1 spot this week. Is it time to panic in Brampton? The Steelheads, they went 0-2 last week. Their losing streak now sits at 7 games, but 3 of those losses ended up being in overtime. So at least that's 3 points over their last 7 games. But still, this is a Brampton team that had high expectations coming into the season. Key pieces are at the World Juniors, but they'll need a very strong second half of the regular season if they're going to get the season back on track. I still think they're going to be active at the OHL trade deadline, considering the talent they have up front and with Jack Ivankovic in net. But for next week, just one game. That's on Saturday at home to Ottawa. At number 15, it's the Sioux Greyhounds. No change for them in the power rankings. They went 1-1 last week, a win in North Bay and then a loss in Guelph. They managed to put up 4 goals in both games last week. So the offense is showing some promise, especially for Marco Mignosa. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points in those 2 games, so not too shabby there. Coming up, 2 games for Sault Ste. Marie at home. Saturday, they host Windsor, and then Sunday, they're also home to the Windsor Spitfires. At number 14, the Ottawa 67s. They fell 2 spots this week. Ottawa's 3-game winning streak, it came to an abrupt end as they went 0-1-1. The 67s, they are in the middle of a 9-game road trip because of the World Juniors, so they still have 5 games away from TD place to go before they return back to the nation's capital. And coming up this weekend, they will be in Brampton on Saturday, followed by a visit to Peterborough on Sunday. At number 13, the Sarnia Sting, they're up 4 positions, the biggest mover this week. And really, since the removal of Michael Haley as the assistant coach in Sarnia, the Sting have gone 3-1-1 That includes a very impressive 3-2 win at home against the Kitchener Rangers, where they had to come back to defeat the Rangers, who are one of the top teams in the Western Conference standings. The Sting, they got some great play from Ryan Brown. He had a goal and an assist. And then Easton Wainwright getting the game winner late in the third period as they pulled off the upset. For Sarnia, just one game this week, and that's going to be on the road in Saginaw on Saturday. At number 12, the Saginaw Spirit. They fell 3 positions. It's been a tough go of late for the Saginaw Spirit. They lost back-to-back games against the Flint Firebirds, where they were outscored by a combined score of 11-5. They're now 3-7 over their last 10 games, so things not looking too good with the Saginaw Spirit. And the question mark remains, what do you do with Michael Misa and Zane Parekh? I feel like those questions are starting to get louder in Saginaw with the way this team has been playing of late, with the trade deadline around the cupboard. Plus, the draft cupboard, it's pretty bare after last year's deep run. So do they entertain the idea of Michael Misa and Zane Parekh being traded? We'll have to wait and see. But they do have some rookies right now, though, who are contributing. So they do have the young talent. So if they do move, maybe even do a soft sell, the Saginaw Spirit should be in a decent spot going forward. But coming up this week, 2 games at home. Saturday, they host Sarnia, and then Sunday, they're home to the Niagara Ice Dogs. At number 11, up 2 positions, it's the Flint Firebirds. Are we starting to see the Flint Firebirds we expected before the season got underway, or is it because of their recent opponents? They went 2-0 last week, back-to-back wins against Saginaw, and they've now won 4 in a row. But the Spirit, as I mentioned just a moment ago, they've been struggling of late. They also acquired wins over Sarnia and Owen Sound, who are much lower than them in the standings. So we'll have to wait and see where this team goes next. They have a very tough week ahead, both at home, so they do have home ice advantage. It starts Saturday against the Niagara Ice Dogs, and then Sunday against the London Knights. So big games coming up here for the Flint Firebirds. At number 10, it's the Brantford Bulldogs. They're up 1 position. For Brantford, they posted a 7-4 win at home against Brampton, and then fell 6-2 to Oshawa. So the offense, it is there for the Bulldogs. Nick Lardis now sitting on 29 goals in 32 games, while Cole Brown now 6 points over his last 3. So I really like the look of this Brantford team. It was just unfortunate that Oshawa got the better of them on Sunday. Now coming up, or actually not on Sunday, that was on Friday. My mistake. Coming up for Brantford, Saturday, they're on the road visiting the Owen Sound Attack. At number 9, it's the Kingston Frontenacs, who are up 1 position this week. And Kingston, they were 1-0 last week. That one win came against Peterborough, but that got them back in the win column after losing 3 straight on the road the week before. So Kingston getting back in the win column, maybe that'll be a little bit of a confidence boost for them. 1 game ahead for them, and that's on Sunday on the road against the Oshawa Generals, who have been a very tough opponent all year long. At number 8, the Erie Otters, they fell 1 position. And for Erie, they just played 1 game as well. But that was a 6-1 loss at home to the London Knights. The biggest question, though, facing Erie, the health of Noah Erliden. He did not play in the game against the London Knights. Erliden, he has a .910 save percentage, and I would consider him maybe an early favorite for OHL Goaltender of the Year. His health will be a focus for this team going into the second half. Because remember last year, Erie and their goaltenders, they had Ben Goudreau. He had the injury, missed a lot of time. And then they had 10 goalies dress, even on an emergency basis, because of their goaltender health. So hopefully we're not seeing a repeat of that this season. Now, coming up for Erie, they just play 1 game at home on Saturday, and that's against the Guelph Storm. At number 7, the Sudbury Wolves, they dropped 1 position this week. Sudbury, they were 1-0 with a win at home over North Bay. They only fell 1 spot because a team passed them. That's the only reason. Also, Kieran Walton had a beautiful goal in that game against North Bay, an end-to-end trip. And if you get a chance, definitely look that one up. Kieran Walton with the end-to-end goal. Coming up for the Sudbury Wolves, just 1 game, and that's on Sunday against the Kitchener Rangers. So a big test coming up. At number 6, we have the Windsor Spitfires. They fell 1 position, just like the Wolves. Windsor, they were 1-0, but their only win was against the Guelph Storm, so a team at the bottom of the standings. However, they only fell 1 spot because they were passed. Same thing like Sudbury. But it kind of seems like a theme right now in the top half of the power rankings. Coming up for Windsor, they do play 2 games on the road, Saturday in Sault Ste. Marie and Sunday in Sault Ste. Marie. At number 5, up 3 positions this week, the Niagara Ice Dogs. And that's the reason why Sudbury and Windsor both fell 1 spot in the power rankings. Niagara 2-0 last week, wins over Barrie and Brampton. and their winning streak now sits at 7 games. They have been impressive. The Ice Dogs have scored at least 6 goals in each of their last 5 games, and all 5 of those games have also been on the road. So one thing, for this Niagara team, it's their offense, but I have to be honest. I didn't see this happening, and I don't think anyone else in the OHL saw this happening, where Niagara would be sitting first place in the Eastern Conference at the Christmas break. It's been unreal, and it's been a great ride to see as Niagara wanting to get back into the postseason, first time since 2019, and they look well on track to do that. This weekend, their road trip continues with stops in Flint and Saginaw on Saturday and Sunday. At number 4, we have the Barrie Colts, who are down 1 position. The Colts, they went 1-1. Ben Horebic was outstanding with a 45 save performance in his first career OHL shutout on the road against the Owen Sound Attack. But then they came home to play Niagara. They opened the game with scoring to start the game, but then took parts of the game off, it seemed, letting the Ice Dogs control most of the game, and would eventually fall short in that one as Niagara would take that one on the road. So for this Colts team, they really need to start playing a full 60 minutes. And that, I know, has been a theme all season long, because if this team would play the full 60, they could dominate. And we've seen that in parts this season. But of course, they are missing key players at the World Juniors. But still, it's a little concerning just to see how this team kind of takes a few minutes off here and there. I'm not saying the players are coasting, but as a spectator or from the sidelines, there's some question marks in the consistency right now. But they are a really good team. They have the talent. But we'll see what they can do this weekend with a home and home against North Bay. Starts Saturday at home, and then Sunday they travel to North Bay. At number 3, the Kitchener Rangers, they fell 1 position this week. And for Kitchener, 1-1 was their record last week, and I was really surprised to see how they fell 3-2 in Sarnia. You can't win every game, but when you have the lead for most of the game, you kind of expect that Kitchener would get the victory. But Sarnia, wow, what a game they had. The Rangers, they would bounce back after that defeat with a 6-3 win at home against Ottawa. But yes, a bit of a strange week there for Kitchener. Now, coming up on Sunday, they start a road trip in Sudbury through Northern Ontario. At number 2, it's the Oshawa Generals, who are up 2 positions this week, and it was just 1 game for them, but the Generals, they made the best of it. They went and won 6-2 at home against the Brantford Bulldogs. The offense in Oshawa, it can be lethal, and this time it was led by Colby Barlow, 2 goals and an assist, good for 3 points in that game. And coming up on Sunday, they play their East Division rivals, the Kingston Frontenacs, at home at the Tributes Community Center. So at number 1, no change from last week, it's the London Knights. In fact, London, this is now 7 weeks in a row they've been number 1 in the power rankings. This team, they also got stronger on the blue line. They acquired Cam Allen from the Guelph Storm, and he ended up scoring a goal and 2 assists in his debut in Erie, and then followed it up with 2 assists in the game against the Sarnia Sting. So Cam Allen, very comfortable early on with this London Knights team. The only question I have is, how are they going to manage the ice time for the blue line when everybody is back together? I know that Dale Hunter will be able to figure this out. This is nothing new for the London Knights, and we'll just see if they can continue their winning ways. And coming up this week, just 1 game. That'll be on the road in Flint on Sunday. So that's how I see it from the booth with the power rankings this week. This one's a little shorter than other power rankings, is very limited on games. I know it is the Christmas holidays, but I will have some videos still posting throughout the week. I've kind of pre-recorded some videos. And so thank you very much for all your support. I know there's been a little bit of a boost in subscribers, so I want to thank you if you're newly subscribed. If you haven't clicked subscribe yet, feel free to click and join our small community as we talk about junior hockey here on YouTube. If not, that's okay too. Appreciate you coming in and taking a peek at what's going on here from the booth with Mike on the channel. So again, thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.